Welcome to the Bitcoin Nightly News. I'm your host, Humanity. My goal is to bring you on my daily Bitcoin journey and share the relevant stories and themes of the day. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow on X. Let's dive into the news for today. Actually, what I want to do is start with Dennis Porter. Dennis Porter released that lawmakers in a state of Switzerland, this Canton Bern, or the Canton level, has passed legislation to study Bitcoin mining. Okay, so they are looking to see if Bitcoin mining can be used as a demand response technique for balancing the energy grids. Fantastic news. Michael Saylor posted the 60 public companies that can issue equity to buy Bitcoin. Let's see who is on the list. We got MicroStrategy at top. That's old. This is now over 400,000 Bitcoin, but we'll get to that later in the video. Okay, so we got Marathon, Galaxy, Riot, Tesla, Coinbase, Booyah. Yeah, this is in Hong Kong. A couple Canadian, Japanese. I'm really looking to see the country. I want to see the geographic diversification here. I haven't really looked through this list, so we're looking through it the first time together. So we got miners, WonderFi, interesting. I don't know what that is. Core Scientific, Blockchain Group, Global Stronghold. Interesting. So let's see, all the way from basically 400,000 Bitcoin to 4 Bitcoin. This is pretty interesting. This like 100 to 300 range. Everything over 1,000 are the big people, and a lot of miners, and then Semler. Semler's doing great stuff. CleanSpark up here. Awesome stuff. I wanted to show this because we got Marathon in here at number 2, and there's some big news with Marathon. They have now implemented the MicroStrategy approach, and they announced today that they have a private offering of 0% convertible notes of $700 million plus $105 million option. Proceeds to be used primarily to acquire Bitcoin and repurchase existing 2026 convertible notes up to $50 million. Now, $700 million is a lot. $805 million is a lot. I wanted to bring this up because this is their press release from Mara's website. This is the announcement today that I just read. And this is an announcement from less than 2 weeks ago, where they just completed a $1 billion offering of 0% convertible senior notes due in 2030. So this is 1.7, or with the option, 1.8 billion in debt that they just raised. Huge. This is companies issuing paper to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin Conference tweeted our potentially, I think, the new, under the Trump administration, U.S. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. There is value in the U.S. having its own strategic Bitcoin reserve. That's coming from national intelligence. I wanted to put this on here because we've been covering people in the Trump administration who are pro-crypto, political actors around the world who are pro-Bitcoin. And I wanted to throw this out here specifically because of the national intelligence aspect. I've been saying that, I think 2025, 2026, we're going to see the narrative of Bitcoin as a national security measure and matter of national defense start coming into the framework and get within the Overton window. And I think this is kind of starting it. We got the potential or a nominee for the Director of National Intelligence saying that there's value in the strategic Bitcoin reserve for the U.S. And I think she's coming with the perspective of a matter of national defense. So wanted to bring that up. And let's move on to betting markets. This has been moving around a lot. This is Kalshi. This is the percent chance that Bitcoin's going to end the year above $100,000, and currently it's sitting at 69%. So that's a majority believe that it will. This has fluctuated kind of throughout the weekend, higher and lower. I think today I saw it at a low of 62 and a high of, mid 70s, 73%, something like that. So general sentiment is positive for BTC ending the year above 100,000. I heard British HODL today mention that we're going to chop around for the next week or so and then maybe head into like 110 to 120 mark to finish the year. That seems plausible. Some people think that we're heading down between 70 and 80,000 to retest a range high. The last big resistance level, see if we'll retest that as support. So interesting from different analysts about price action, but general sentiment from betting markets is that we're going up over the next 28 days or so. Now I want to finish with MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor news. MicroStrategy released that they purchased another 15.4 thousand Bitcoin at a price of around $95,976 per coin for roughly $1.5 billion. This brings the total HODL bag for MicroStrategy to about 402,000 Bitcoin. And I wrote here in my X post, this flywheel can continue because the asset is scarce. MicroStrategy's entire capital structure is based on an asset whose ARR is 60%, and we simply haven't had a company go all in, all together, and capitalize their whole organization on an asset that is programmatically scarce and extremely volatile to the upside. This is getting figured out and is just extremely interesting to watch. Excited to see what 2025 holds for MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor. Now I wanted to go and finish the show, finish the nightly news with Michael Saylor's 3-minute presentation to Microsoft Board of Directors. He posted this on X. It's essentially all of his podcasts distilled down into a 3-minute presentation. And I want to make a comment on this. His delivery is very deadpan. I think he's trying to, he's not animated at all in this 3 minutes. He is very, very, very stoic in this 3 minutes, and it kind of caught me off guard, and I've thought about it and digested it over the course of a day, and I really think that he is trying to cool the room to Bitcoin and be as direct and valuable to Microsoft about Bitcoin as possible in 3 minutes. There is zero fat on his presentation, okay? There is no fluff at all. He doesn't have time for fluff, and he knows it. So he spent an inordinate amount of time, I imagine, condensing this presentation down and making sure there are no unnecessary or superfluous words in this presentation. And I want that to be said. It doesn't go without note. It's quite clear that he put a lot of work into this. So I wanted to end this nightly news with this presentation so you can hear what Michael Saylor is saying to Microsoft, one of the largest companies in the world.
Microsoft can't afford to miss the next technology wave, and Bitcoin is that wave. Bitcoin represents the greatest digital transformation of the 21st century. It represents digital capital. The global wealth is distributed across assets that provide utility and others that preserve capital. But risk is destroying trillions of dollars of that capital every single year, and investors are turning to digital capital in the form of Bitcoin in order to avoid that risk. Digital capital is economically and technically superior to physical capital, and it represents a revolutionary advance in capital preservation. The asset class itself is growing from trillions to hundreds of trillions of dollars, and it is backed by digital power along with political and economic power. It makes sense for Microsoft to be powered by digital capital. Bitcoin's the best asset you can own. The numbers speak for themselves. it makes a lot more sense to buy Bitcoin than to buy your own stock back or to hold Bitcoin rather than holding bonds. If you're going to outperform, you're going to need Bitcoin. And those bonds are undermining your options market and your equity liquidity. Luckily, you have an alternative. Public support for Bitcoin is surging, as is political support, as is support for the US Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, as is Wall Street support. And the President of the United States says,
never sell your Bitcoin.
That's why we're entering year one of the crypto renaissance. And you have a choice to make. Cling to the past or embrace the future. Divest billions of dollars and slow your growth rate. Invest billions of dollars and accelerate your growth rate. You've surrendered hundreds of billions of dollars of capital over the past 5 years, and you've just amplified the risks that your own shareholders face. If you want to escape that vicious cycle, you're going to need an asset without counterparty risk. What if you could buy a $100 billion company growing faster than Microsoft for 1 times revenue? What if you could keep doing it every single year? It's time for Microsoft to evaluate its Bitcoin strategic options. We've created an open source model. You can plug in your own assumptions. You can convert your cash flows and your dividends and your buybacks and your debt into Bitcoin. If you do that, you'll add hundreds of dollars to the stock price. You can create trillions of dollars of enterprise value. You can strip away risk from your shareholders, and you can prosper on the Bitcoin standard. So do the right thing for the world and adopt Bitcoin.
Okay, so that was Michael Saylor's 3-minute virtual presentation to the board of directors for Microsoft. I'm curious to hear what you guys think of his delivery. My thoughts are that it's one of the best examples of salesmanship I've ever seen personally. And he just really packs a punch very stoically. And I'm extremely thrilled with the presentation. Again, I want to reiterate my thoughts on this shareholder vote for Microsoft, and I think that they're going to surprise, and I think that they're going to vote to investigate Bitcoin as an asset for the company. I think that that's going to be a big surprise, and I think that that's really what leads us into 2025. I could be totally wrong, but it's just, it's a gut feeling, and I'm sharing it. Totally willing to be wrong. If that's what happens, so be it. But they did extend the invitation to Michael Saylor, and the timing is very serendipitous. So I guess you could say that I am cautiously optimistic. That's our show for today. Again, I'm Humanity. Today is Monday, December 2nd. And let's see, guys, what is Bitcoin's price right now as we end the show on Monday, December 2nd? Bitcoin's price is $95,395.75. Wowzers. It's a special time to be alive, everybody. So much is happening. I know when you're in the Bitcoin ecosystem and Bitcoin Twitter and YouTube, it's easy to see all this stuff happening because it's in your face and it's on your timeline. But a lot of people aren't seeing this even still. $100,000 is going to be a big marker for Bitcoin. So I'm excited to see it cross it. Hopefully it's this month, but we're going to keep tracking it. Again, thanks everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.